So now we come to our final submitter of the afternoon, Sara Epperson, on behalf of the Public Health Association of New Zealand. Sarah, good to see you. Thanks for joining us this afternoon, and you've got 5 minutes to present your submission today.
Fantastic, thank you. Had no idea I was the grand finale. So my name's Sara Epperson. I'm the chair of the local branch of the Public Health Association of New Zealand. We are an organization that seeks to provide a forum for information, debate, and action on public health issues in New Zealand. So when we talk about public health, we're not just talking about the kind of services that individuals get at a hospital or with their GP. We're talking about the sorts of interventions at a population level that promote and protect health. I know a few of you will have are well versed in health and public health, so probably no further explanation needed there. Our members of our local branch wanted to share our perspective with you on a few items that jumped out to us in the LTP. We really recognize that the Christchurch City Council creates a lot of health and well-being in our city. And some of the ways we do that are through really outstanding local initiatives and services. Many of us in our branch know about those firsthand. One of our members brought to our attention that one of the libraries whose hours are proposed to be cut, it's the library that he attends with his whānau nearly every weekend. We were really surprised to hear about the proposed cuts to library hours, especially considering that resident feedback consistently shows that libraries are among our most cherished local assets. And we'd really like to invite the council to reconsider that cut. Similarly with the art gallery cuts, there's a proposal to reduce some of the outreach programs to the art gallery. We know that access to the arts is really integral to supporting people's health and well-being, developing a sense of identity and belonging. We'd really love to see the outreach programs continue. And community grants funding as well. It looks like that money is set to dwindle, and that's at a really surprising time. We're still in the midst of a global pandemic, and some of the best way that we can support our people is through community-led action, and much of that is often funded by local councils. So we'd really love to see this funding be at least maintained, if not increased. These are exactly the sorts of things that support community resilience and build social capital, and also really exemplifies community governance, which I think this council has stood for a long time. So many of those funding decisions are made at a really local level. Would be great to see that maintained. We saw many things in the LTP that, in the direction of transport that we thought were worth commending. We really appreciate the cycleway investment, the acceleration of funding there, and we support the ongoing renewal of roads and footpaths. Any way we can encourage active transport and better public transportation is good for our individual health, our community health, and our environmental health. If there were funds to support growth that are targeted at developments where there's good public transport, walking and cycling connections, and corridor improvements, we'd be supportive of that. And we'd also like for the council to reconsider the decision to close the Rickerton Bus Lounge. It's a pretty important piece of public transportation infrastructure. And the last thing we wanted to talk about was climate harm, although I understand you'll be hearing from others sometime next week about your climate change strategy. Some of the harms that we'll face as a result of climate degradation will be social ones. And in order to help support people through the psychosocial impacts of climate degradation, we would really love it if among the climate-focused community projects, there was a chance to specifically name the sorts of things that help people come together to look after each other and look after the environment as well, because that's really going to be the only way that we can respond and adapt through climate harm, as if we're supported to do that together. I've got 30 seconds left if anyone has a burning question. The grand finale to the grand finale.
Sam.
Thank you very much. This has been really useful. So I guess looking at the mental health and stress and things like that, I just wondered if you had a view on like the rates increases as such. So you've talked about the things that you do want to keep, but that financial pressure on families. Did the organisation have a view on whether we've got that right, or because there's obviously a trade-off to the things you've talked about in here do come at a cost. So do you have a view on that?
We didn't develop a view together on that in particular, but what I can tell you is when we were thinking about the sort of mental health lens, the sorts of things that tend to promote mental health and well-being are: do people have a chance to participate in society? Do they have local assets, and do they have a sense of control? I'd love to try to put that same sort of lens over the question you've just asked really rapidly, but I will invite you to consider that yourselves instead.
All right, Sarah, thank you very much indeed for taking the time to come and present to us this afternoon. Thanks very much indeed for the submission. Thank you. All right, so that brings us to the end of this afternoon's session. So now I'll adjourn the meeting to 2 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th of May, when we'll be hearing from submitters on the climate change strategy. So I'm adjourning the meeting until 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Thank you.